Inaugurated in the spring of 1978, the Jazz Room series at William Paterson University is the longest running campus based jazz concert series in the nation, with a tradition of encompassing the complete spectrum of jazz from New Orleans to the avant garde. It features world class professionals and William Paterson student ensembles. Now, there are three series of concerts each year. There's the fall and spring, and the week-long Summer Jazz Room will be held the third week of July. The Jazz Room series is directly connected to the William Paterson Jazz Studies program, unique among college and university programs. The Jazz Studies program is one of the few in the nation with an emphasis on a small group playing, improvisation, and a genuine commitment to the jazz tradition. And joining us today is one of the performers of the 2025 Summer Jazz Room series, Grammy Award-winning composer, arranger, and drummer Dan Pugach, who brings his big band to the Shea Center for Performing Arts at William Paterson University. Dan, great to see you as always.
Good to see you, Doug. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're enjoying great success right now, coming off your Grammy Award-winning album, Bianca Reimagined, Music for Pause and Persistence, featuring your wife, Nicole Zaritis, winning the category of Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album. You both have been touring a lot lately. This is your first time you're bringing your big band to Shea. How much are you looking forward to this show on July 21st?
I'm very much looking forward. It's my first time bringing the big band over there and playing there in general, and I'm super excited to play original music as well as my arrangements of fun and more known compositions.
This year's Grammy adds to your growing list of awards as a composer, which include the ASCAP Foundation Jazz Composer Award and the BMI Charlie Parker Composition Prize. You also play drums on Nicole's 2024 Grammy Award-winning album, How Love Begins. And Dan has fostered and rehabilitated pit bulls from New York City shelters for more than a decade. Now, some people are aware of the genesis of Bianca Reimagined, but Dan, others may not be. Tell us about that album and why it's so special to you and Nicole.
Bianca Reimagined is our tribute to pit bulls that we have rescued along the years. We started fostering together in when we lived in Brooklyn, New York, and that's what kind of glued us together beyond just becoming fast friends and music collaborators. We've been fostering and rehabilitating pit bulls, and we learned that they're super amazing and loyal and lovable, and they have a bad reputation. So we started raising awareness and creating a voice for them who cannot speak. So through that, we kept a lot of those dogs with us, and those dogs became kind of like the mascot of the band. Those dogs have been around during rehearsals and gigs and festivals and recordings and videos and whatnot, including Bianca, who was a special soul. And when she passed, we had her for 8 years. Um, she really left a hole in her soul. And so when one goal of mine that I had when I discovered I have intuition for arranging and composing beyond playing just the drums was to was at City College when I met Mike Holliber and he got me hip to the BMI Jazz Composer Workshop. That's when I started really pursuing large ensemble between my nonet and full big band. And I wrote a piece called Bianca for Bianca. And that piece won the award, and that started kind of like brainstorming the idea of having an album, a full big band album. And then I kept writing. I got different commissions, and through the pandemic, I built a body of work that was good enough for an album and beyond. We were playing gigs at the 55 bar with the full big band, and when we were recording the album, our second foster, Bella the bear, who got us through the pandemic. She was super anxious and difficult at first, and through the pandemic and through love and care, she transformed and became this mush. I wrote her a piece called Bella the bear, and when we went back and recorded the third part of this album, She got sick, very sick, and so we recorded an extra song called "Little Fears," which basically describes the perspective of dogs trapped in shelters and in cages, and um, that became the whole narrative of the album, which is like speak for those who cannot, and advocate for dog rescue.
Yeah, it's quite an album that so many people are enjoying, and some people are just discovering for the first time. I never had a chance to meet Bianca, but I did get to spend a wonderful day with Bella, and you now have Dolly. And if people
Now
are
we have Dolly, yeah.
yeah, if people follow you on social media, it's easy to see there's another love affair with your latest dog, Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly is a special case. Again, started as a foster. We took her in November, thinking she's gonna be with us for 2 weeks until she gets decompressed and can find a forever home. And we became her forever home as we went along. And everyone has been super helpful because that's when we started touring a lot. We were everywhere from Australia to the West Coast to Europe a bunch of times, and I don't even remember. So our family, our friends, everybody has been helping us with Dolly, and she's just great.
Well, when Rose and I saw those videos of you and Dolly, we knew exactly that Dolly's going to be a permanent fixture. There was no way you were giving Dolly up. So we just know how loving you are towards your pets, and the same thing for Nicole. Now, you can catch some wonderful videos of the big band at danpugach.com. One of the reasons I love these videos, Dan, is that you really highlight the members of your big band. You get the sense this is really a family of musicians.
Yes, I treat the big band as a trio, and I try to create that sensibility as if you were in a small ensemble setting, um, while while enjoying the rich harmonies and the wide spectrum and the wide range of instruments and different colors with orchestration. I really focus on improvisation, and that's kind of a lost art in my opinion. In modern big band writing, it became all about the composition and the orchestration and things like that, and it kind of forgets about the main the main source, the main ingredient, which is the improvisation. And so I try to feature everyone in the band. So, and it's not just like the one or two, tenor guy or trumpet guy. It's I really go through everybody and make sure each song features a different person. So that by the end of the record, like if you listen all the way through, you heard everybody improvised. And so that is my goal, and that's how I keep the band member happy and involved, you know?
Absolutely. And those who have seen you live know that that's apparent that everybody gets to take their solos when they're watching the Dan Pugach Big Band. And some of them got to go to the Grammy Awards with you. So I imagine that was quite a fun time.
Yeah, thank God for Nicole who was hurting them and telling them what to do because she went there and she went through the possible win and she said, "Listen, if anything crazy happens, you guys have to line up by the wall and run to the stage, you know." Um, because we've been hearing like, "Oh, how did you guys know? Like, how did you like we didn't know, but Nicole prepared them very well." Um, so that we don't waste any time. So that was pretty crazy. I had 13 out of 18 members with a service dog, with the medical dog, Jen's medical dog, and we were all there and just waiting to see what happens. And super super grateful and surprised that we got to go on stage with the whole big band almost. So that was a crazy experience.
Yeah, the family has been hot, you could say. Dan Pugach and Nicole Zaritis. The Grammys are now becoming just another win. So I have to
No,
talk
we're
to you.
very grateful, and yeah.
Yeah, I have to talk to you about um, songs like Little Fears that was nominated for a Grammy. When you are writing a piece that you know Nicole was going to sing, do the two of you talk about the collaboration before you compose it? How does that work?
In this particular case, Nicole wrote the lyric and the song pretty much, and she said, "Babe, you gotta finish it and make it big band." And at first, I was resisting because I wasn't sure how to go about it, and we didn't have much time, and then on a flight to Belgium, I had to go visit a cousin getting married in Belgium right before the session in May, and I ended up just writing it and orchestrating it, and I left room for her to do her to like kind of like improvise her vocals, and I featured Troy Roberts on tenor saxophone solo, and I had pretty much freedom to do whatever I'm hearing. So that's the good thing is that we trust each other. She knows that I'm not gonna step on her vocals, but also I'm not gonna be too safe with my writing. So I can take chances and experiment with cool colors and cool figures and cool meters and all the fun stuff that's jazz. But at the same time, she trusts me that I'm not gonna step on her vocals and steal her thunder. So this collaboration works. I mean, we sometimes we write stuff together from scratch. Sometimes, we have a song called Our Blues that's recorded on the Nonette album, and that's pretty much the music came first. And I said, "Babe, write me lyrics for this blues." And she said, "Oh, I'll write you lyrics." And then it turned into, "You're much more clever when you shut your mouth." So that's how we collaborate. We let each other shine, and we trust each other, and we bring it together at the end. And even at the session, I shared a little clip from that our arguing over the meters and over the time signatures and stuff like that. And she said, "Oh, are you sure? Are you sure we want to move on?" And I said, "Oh, it sounds like you want to do another take." And then my voice cracks, and I say, "Uh, "Okay, cool." And then my voice breaks, and the whole big band falls apart and start laughing. There's really one boss when he calls around. So it's funny. We make it work. And even in the studio, we were still arguing over things like that, and it's just fun. It's just fun to do stuff together.
Fun is definitely another part of Dan. By the way, here is a picture of Bianca, and here's the album from the Dan Pugach Big Band album. Bianca Reimagined but I wanted to also touch upon the fact that when you're doing songs like Travel and Tolerance, two tunes that really highlight the beautiful composition and instrumentation and improvisation that you talked about of the Dan Pugach Big Band. A, a song like Travel, how does that become a reality for you?
Travel is another example of Nicole genius writing, who's uh I feel like she's on the forefront of the jazz singer-songwriter and modern songbook. She writes in a way that that borrows and is influenced by the Great American Songbook and Tin Pan Alley, and mixed with contemporary uh, grooves and contemporary sound, um, and is very unique. And so I get to my my job is to take that and to blow it up for the big band and make it make sense. And it's crazy how it always works because she's such a funny um she's such a unique, interesting mix of uh of like a Joni Mitchell meets um Nora Jones meets any modern composer, and I get to blow it up for big band. So the thing is that Travel, for example, is actually a poem by Edna St. Vincent Millay that talks about being on the road and hearing a train in the distance. And it's funny, that's all we've been doing the past couple of years is just travel. We've been living out of a suitcase and are barely home. And so we really relate to the lyric of the songs that we perform. So it was a no-brainer for me to add it to the repertoire. And I'm a big fan of Nicole's writing, and it makes my job easy to to adapt it to the big band or the nonet, and to maybe comment on it. Sometimes I add little lines or things that were not maybe in the original composition, but it becomes the big band version. Like it's just like we have Jolene, we have a few versions of Jolene that we do, one with the nonet, one with the big band, and the one that's completely naked with Nicole's quartet or a duet, So we get to enjoy the different colors and different orchestration possibilities.
Speaking of travel, when you are traveling around, now you're going to be spending some time in New Jersey and New York City. When you're at William Paterson on July 21st, is that somewhat relaxing knowing that you don't have far to go to have a performance like this?
Um, I'm relaxed either way. I don't stress out about traffic or about flights or long travel like that. I'm just happy to be playing and be doing what I do. And I really mean it. So I'm happy playing in Jersey as well as I'm happy playing all the way in China or Australia or Europe. So um, the fact that I can bring this music and this ensemble anywhere and play live, um, it's really a celebration, and you can see it on stage. It's the excitement and the love in the band and the love for the music is really special. And we're going to feature a great vocalist from Jersey, Alison Rumley, who she went to William Paterson. I think she teaches there, and she's a great vocalist. She's been playing the residency with my Nonet at the Django in March, and then we did a bunch of big band concerts at the Stony Brook Avram Theater in Southampton, as well as the Jazz Loft in Stony Brook. And it's a pleasure to work with her. She learned the repertoire just like that, and she's really amazing and great to work with.
And coming up on July 21st at the Shea Performing Arts Center there at William Paterson will be the Dan Pugach Big Band. Dan, I know that you have been following. You were born in Israel and served as a drummer for the Air Force Band in the IDF while attending School of Jazz there. Have you been closely following everything that's been happening this week in Israel?
Yeah, not only this week, the past 2 years, but yeah, I'm following. I'm in touch with my friends and family, and everyone is as stressed out as we are, following the news and hoping for better days. Um, I'm supposed to take my big band down there to the Red Sea Jazz Festival, and I'm hoping it all goes smooth. I hope this all gets resolved soon, and we can go back to making music and art and not worry about wars everywhere.
That is for sure. We are all hoping for peace everywhere. You mentioned getting a Master of Arts from the City College of New York, studying under Mike Oliver and John Patitucci. And then also you hold a Bachelor of Music degree from Berklee College of Music, where you studied with Terry Lynn Carrington, Joe Lovano, and a number of others. Recently, a new book came out, Lee Burke, Leading the Berkeley Way, a loving tribute to the late president of Berkeley College of Music, Lee Burke. We had a chance to speak with his widow, Susan Burke, and Mark Small, the author of that book, on the WBGO Journal. What about your time at the Berkeley College of Music? What do you remember?
Nothing but good stuff. It was a great place for me to land fresh off the boat, arriving from Tel Aviv, um, and pretty much launching my career. My early career days here were at Berkeley, where I met everybody, and everybody meaning not just faculty and musicians that are leading the way in jazz, but everyone who became all the students, all my friends and colleagues became who they are. Um, so I feel like we all did this together. Melissa Aldana, Lawrence Fields, Godwin Lewis, Victor Gould, like any name that I'll drop, you probably heard of on the scene, and the list is so long. And I still play with everybody that I went to school with, like Julian Lodge and Jeff Miles and Julian Shore, and I can name those names forever. And this was possible thanks to Berkeley and that environment. That is the first time I was able to go to a place and be and meet people that are like-minded, who are pursuing the same dream, which was eventually move to New York and pursue a career in jazz. Um, it was incredible, and I studied under Terry Lynn, who opened up my playing. It's funny, both Terry Lynn and Joe Lovano told me that I sound too much like Roy Haynes at the time, and Roy Haynes has been my biggest influence, and I always tried to sound like him so much that I was borderline a copycat, and they told me, listen, that's a great way to learn and to get the language. Now you want to drop all that and find your own voice and become your own unique drummer on the field. And it took me a minute to shake that, and but I owe them a lot for opening up my sound. Um as well as George Garzone and Hal Crook, who are improvisation gurus, and I learned a lot from them about improv and composing. So yeah, Berkeley was incredible. It's funny that at the time I was so focused on performance and on meeting everybody and playing with everybody that I was not really interested in composition yet. I did some of it, I was always interested in harmony and reharmonization and things like that, but I wasn't really pursuing arranging and composition yet. Until I got to New York and I met Scott Reeves and Mike Holliber and John Patitucci, and they got me into exploring the big band further, and you know starting that route with the Nonette that I still write for and I still tour with. So
Did you ever get a chance to play with Roy? We lost him last year.
I met him at a party, and that was the highlight of my
What did you
you
say to
know
him
I
at the party?
I said, "Oh man, I'm a huge fan, and I've been studying your playing and your solos." And I don't remember what he said. I said something like, "Whose house is this?" I think you know, it was late. It was late in his life, and
Yeah.
he was a little confused. But yeah, always played amazing. And every time I saw him with his trio, I mean, with the Danilo Perez trio or with his quartet, it's just incredible.
How has drumming changed in jazz, maybe from 20, 30, 40 years ago?
Interesting question. The way I see it is the way it's recorded has changed. It's I feel like the volume and the intensity of the drums became more free and more out there and more daring due to recording techniques. I feel like if you were to take a modern drummer today and put him next to an acoustic piano, the way they record these days would not work. I feel like there was something magical about playing acoustically with like one or two microphones in the room and having the drums have to play to the volume of the piano and the bass and not on top of them. Um, I feel like that changed a little bit, and now you hear drummers just like bashing cymbals and bashing the drums because they're in isolation booths, and that opened up like a whole different route of skills and technique and showmanship. But at the same time, I feel like some of the magic shifted a little bit. So um, I'm still a huge fan of Terry Lane and Roy Haynes and Jack DeJohnette and a lot of drummers in jazz that I follow, like Brian Blade and Jeff Ballard, are still my heroes. Um, yeah, but I try to do my own thing, which is not to play just like a drummer. I feel like the drums is just a vehicle for me to speak, and I try to create space and stay out of the way when I can to create space and room for the soloist and for the melody. I feel like I learned the hard way by by teaming up with a vocalist. In an early stage, I feel like I learned to respect the melody and respect the vocalist or the soloist, whatever that is the in the front, and do all the stuff, all the cool stuff, make it sit in the background and not interfere with the melody.
As we wrap this conversation up, you said create space. You even get creative with cappuccino. Where does that creativity and fun really come from, Dan?
It's funny, I used to work at a coffee shop in Soho when I got out of Berkeley before I got to City College. And I knew nothing about espresso, and I just had to learn how to do it and put out drinks as fast as possible. And I didn't think anything of it. And then later, a friend of mine gave me uh, an old espresso machine that was used by Dizzy Gillespie and those guys. It was around in at LP Percussion. My buddy Martin Cohen, who started LP Percussion, had this machine, this old Italian lever machine. To be precise, it's called Olympia Cremina 67 for the nerds. And he was like, "I'm not using this here." And so I started. I had it in my bedroom next to my bed with a little coffee grinder next to my bed in Brooklyn. And I pulled shots all day long, trying to perfect the espresso. And then Nicole got into it, and then I found another machine on the street in Park Slope when I lived in Brooklyn, and I got savvy with that. And then when we got married, I said to Nicole, "Babe, we gotta get a real one." And so my brother bought us as a gift. He bought us the current espresso machine we have, and it's a double boiler, and I can pull cappuccino, like a steam milk while pulling espresso shots. And it's funny that I've been using that machine up, and then I said to Nicole, "Babe, it's time for my upgrade." And she said, "Not until we get a Grammy." And so last year when she won a Grammy, I said, "Babe, where's my espresso machine?" She said, "No, no, no, I meant you get a Grammy." I said, "God damn it." So then it's funny. This year I won a Grammy, and now I'm still waiting for a upgrade.
It's
I wonder
time
what the
for
excuse is this time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time for the upgrade. Well, you're
Yeah.
going to be able to see the wonderful creativity of Dan Pugach and the big band, and that is part of the Summer Jazz Room series that's going on at William Paterson University, and it will be at the Shea Performing Arts Center, and that is on July 21st. It'll be another wonderful evening of music, and you will see his creativity. You will see that, yeah, he does allow all his members of his performance and his big band to share in their success and in this. Congratulations on the best large jazz ensemble album for Bianca Reimagined Music for Pause and Persistence. Continue to provide us with wonderful music. And once again, congratulations to you and Nicole on this fabulous run.
Thank you, Doug, and everyone at WBGO. I'm a huge fan.